Hi, welcome to Engaged to Social Casino. One small note that Buffalo Studios is now Playtika Santa Monica. All of the properties that Caesars has bought over the past years are all known as Playtika. So welcome to the Playtika herd. My name is Cynthia WOLL, and I am the Director of Game Design for Playtika Santa Monica. This talk is going to be design-centric, so I'm not going to share really any numbers, so not a whole lot of detailed metrics or anything like that. The focus is on player engagement, and I'm going to be viewing casino games through a casual games lens. This is Casual Connect, not Casino Connect. So I'm going to be looking at casino games really largely as casual games. But first, I thought you'd like to know a little bit about me. And I thought the best way to do that was to show you my progress so far through the game industry. So this is my level up chart. In Career Crush Saga, this is me. So, hey, I think I've done pretty good so far. Starting on the lower right, I started with Barbie. I worked for Mattel for a number of years, and then I had my first journey through EA, back at EA.com. And then I moved from EA to Dungeons & Dragons, quite a switch, and then I moved from D&D to Yahoo, where I produced chess. And then I went through a little journey through the freelance forest. Ooh, spooky. And I did that for a number of years. And when I came out of the freelance forest, oh my gosh, I worked for Disney. And I was the person who built the team that made Where's My Water? And then I leveled up some more, and I had my second go-around with EA. And then finally, I landed at Buffalo Studios, now called Playtika Santa Monica. And here's Blitzy. And I think this is a pretty good level. So I'm happy there. So about social casino. As I've thought about this, social casino can really be divided into a number of subgenres. And I put this dial here to say you can dial it down or you can dial it up. A lot of games are kind of Vegas simulators, and we're looking at a lot of mobile slots games especially, and Facebook slots games, more so with slots than with bingo. But My Vegas Double Down are an example of this. It's kind of meant to simulate the exact experience that you have in Vegas. So it's a real slot machine, and the excitement is the thrill of the win. And then as we get more social, we get stuff like Slotomania that's starting to use mechanics and progress ideas that are drawn from casual games and other kinds of games. And then all the way over to the right, we have what I'm currently calling casual casino, which includes Bingo Blitz and games like Slingo Supreme. You're probably all familiar with Slingo. It's been in the market for like 100 years. Great game. These are games that are kind of more flat-out casual games. They build off of casual game mechanics, and they build off of casual ideas. So let's take a closer look. What the heck is the difference between all of these types? It's about the win. Let's look at a Vegas-style casino game. If you look at somebody who's playing Vegas games, the math of it is suited to gamblers. You start with a medium-sized wallet, and basically, you want to have the deep troughs and the big highs. So you're going to play to get that moment of excitement, which is accentuated by the feeling of loss. So these are important, and the way you tune a game that is a slots game that's a Vegas-style game is exactly that. So you get very excited. It's like jackpot. Players care about the money in these games. They say, I got a lot of cash, so I won. I feel good. I'm successful. But then you have social casino, and it introduces the grind. So we're all familiar with the grind from casual games, from MMOs, from lots of kinds of games like Go Kill Rats, whatever, Level Up. These are familiar mechanics to the game community, less so to the casino community. But these are some screenshots from Slotomania in which you can see that I level up. Leveling up unlocks additional rooms. And in this kind of model, players care about their progress. So I want to know, what level am I on? How far have I come? I have a map. I can see where I am at, more so than they care even about the coins. And then finally, we've got what I'm calling casual casino, which is a mashup of styles. And what I've done here is take screenshots from Slingo Supreme, which is a great example of casual casino, where it kind of takes mechanics from casino game, specifically slots and bingo, and of course Slingo is a mashup of slots and bingo, as you all know, but it has a casual structure. It includes things like level ups, unlocks, but not just only that, it has a questing system, it has collecting, it has gifting, it has trading. In this type of game, players care about completion. So this is the style that I'm going to focus on for the next few minutes. Completing something. Completing what? So engagement depends on creating a clear and reliable path to success. So in the sense of these three styles, like I care about the coins, I care about my progress, I care about completion, you need to let the player know what it is and how they can achieve that. And then they're going to keep coming back to do that because they want to get the thing. And player behavior is going to adapt itself depending on what style you choose and how you design the game. Success, as we see from games all around us, could be any of these things. It could be, I won the jackpot. That means success. Okay, I'm done. I want to win a jackpot again. It could mean progress. I'm at a very high level. It could mean completion. And we're going to focus on completion in the sense of collection. We all know collection games. These are popular, they're familiar, they've been around for a long time. Here are three examples of collection games that have been or consistently are in the top 20 grossing in the App Store. We've got, of course, Dragonvale, which is a collection of dragons. We've got, of course, Heyday, my favorite. I'm personally obsessed with this game, in which I need to complete my cargo so I can get my token so I can go and do the whole thing all over again. Carrot on a stick. And then, of course, we've got The Simpsons, and I'm grinding through this thing and playing it over and over again so I can complete the set of characters. So I'm completing the set. So these are, of course, examples of collection games that we all know. Less well-known, perhaps, is the collection mechanic of Bingo Blitz. Bingo Blitz is a game, of course, that we publish. It's been in the market for nearly 4 years, and it's incredibly successful. It was the first game of its type, and there are many others that have followed. The key mechanic in Bingo Blitz is collection, and I'm going to show you some examples. The quest for stuff. This is a screenshot. The next few slides is going to be screenshots that I actually took while I was playing this game. I spent a long time playing this game in the last 2 weekends. I've spent a long time playing this game in the last 5 months, let me tell you. So I am playing 4 cards in bingo, and you might think this is just a regular bingo game. The card on the upper left is what we call a shadow card. If I bingo on this card, I will get a collection item. My goal in this particular game is to collect 18 items. This is a seasonal room. Seasonal rooms have 18 items in tiers. So I've got 6, 6, and 6. So I've got a long way to go before I can complete my collection. So man, I want to get a bingo on that shadow card. But there's another way to get items, and that's by daubing a square that has a chest. And you can see B11 on that same card has a chest on it. So if I daub that chest, it doesn't make any difference if I bingo. I'll get it anyway. If there's an item in that chest, there might not be. There might be power-ups. You know, there's all kinds of different things that it might contain. So these are going to be my 2 goals as I'm looking at this card. And I'm playing bingo trying to get this stuff because that's really what the goal of the game is. So notice in the upper left it says there are 2 bingos left. There are actually only ever were 2 bingos in this room. The reason being is because this was a new room. I had early access to it because I'm an elite player. Other actual players had access to this room as well. It wasn't just for people who work in the company. But it was a small room. There were just a handful of people, and the number of bingos that are able to be called in a room depends on the number of people in a room. So if we have 150 people in the room, there's going to be more bingos. But in this case, there were only 2. And guess what? I got both of them. I was really good that day. So I bingoed on my shadow card, and I bingoed on another card, and I got all the bingos. And then guess what happened? I got items. So here's my collection, and you can see it's a 3-tier collection down in the lower left. That's the bronze puzzle piece, says this is the first tier of the collection. And I just scored myself 2 items. So I got 4 more to go on this level, and then I got another level. I've still got a long way to go. But coming back to this, remember this screen? I just showed you this screen a few minutes ago. And I don't know if anybody actually thought to look at the chat, because there's other people in this room. And I circled the one thing that was a very significant moment, and I've called it out here. So a player named Donnie said, wow, Cynthia, I can see you don't want to share. Because I play as Cynthia, I play with my real Facebook account, because I don't, I play as a real person, because I played before I started doing this job. So translation, what does Donnie mean? She means that I selfishly called both bingos. I didn't have to call both bingos. I had to call the bingo on my shadow card because that was the way I was going to get that item. But she's kind of pissed off at me now because what it means is that somebody else with a shadow card doesn't get their item, and I didn't have to do that. So I kind of apologized here. I don't know if you can see it. It says, I won't call a bingo this next round. I just needed a picture of the darn thing because I was taking screenshots. So I didn't want to say to her, hey, I'm taking a screenshot because I'm going to give a talk about you. So I did not want to say that to Donnie and spoil her illusions. But anyway, so it went on, and Donnie was talking with some other people. And then she says, would like this shadow card if okay. This is between rounds. So she's bought 4 cards, and one of them is a shadow card. And she's saying to the people in the room, I want this shadow card if that's okay. So don't call a bingo until I get the shadow card. And I can see who's calling the bingo, so I can see that Donnie got a bingo. I can go, oh, okay, I get it. Once she's done it, then I get to call a bingo. So she's saying, watch out. And then Amity is saying, holding. What she means by that is that, okay, I'll hold off on calling a bingo until you've got yours. That's fine. So then, I did not, though. I did not hold off. I called a bingo again, and then they were really mad, and I had to quit that room. It was really, really harsh. This is the thing. This is a really social game because people are talking to each other and people are asking for things. And then we come to this idea about gifting. This is the big thing with Bingo Blitz. Generosity. It's the great game mechanic. It's overlooked. It's like, I have items that I can give to you. Wow, am I going to be popular? So if I gave Amity or if I gave Donnie one of my items, she would be much happier than she was with me when I had to quit this room because I thought I was going to be tarred and feathered. So I've completed my silver level at this point, and you can see I have extra items. I have extra campfires, and I have extra horses. And these are going to be stuff that people want, so I can give these to my Facebook friends. So I'm going to give my campfire to somebody that I am Facebook friends with. And then that person who's part of my friendship circle in Bingo Blitz will be happy and life will go on and we will all feel better. But a little more about player behavior, because now I kept playing, because now I was like, oh my gosh, what else are people going to say? So I was in a different room. This is a room called June Bride. And so this room is going to close. I think it actually did close since I took this screenshot. But people were very eager to get this stuff because once the room closes, 4 days only, big advertisement there and say, going to close soon, get your stuff. So people are freaking out. So, Johnny comes in and says, hey, I have a bunch of extra stuff. Who needs something? So it's sort of an ad hoc bartering system because they go in the room. Johnny's in the room saying, I've got stuff, and he doesn't say what he has. So Sky says, I need the dress. Johnny, please. Like she's just got to complete her darn collection. Shirley needs heels. Webby needs a candle or the dress. Remy says, anyone have extra heels? I have the pillow. And what that means is if you gift me the heels, I will gift you the pillow. Or I can gift somebody else the pillow. And this is what goes on in here, is there's a whole chat about here's what I've got, here's what I want, here's what you've got, here's what you're willing to give me. And then this screenshot just warmed my heart. I loved this like crazy. So I was just playing, and I wasn't chatting, and I wasn't doing anything, and people just all of a sudden started complaining and criticizing. And I loved this. Haley starts with saying, too many people in here don't care. If you work hard for the shadow cards, all they do is rush bingos. I think she was referring to me. I felt very guilty. She says, I hold calling bingos to get more chests unless it is a shadow card I needed, meaning that she's not even going to call a bingo unless she's calling it on a shadow card. She's going to leave it to other people. And she says, it helps everyone that way. And someone else then chimes in and says, really, share the bingos. I've been going around saying that like to people, I don't know, like it's some mantra, share the bingos. Anyway, to me this was sort of incredible. Like, okay, wait, the whole nature of this game is like a different game than if you went to Vegas and you went into a bingo room, you would not be saying this. In no way would you think share the bingos, like it wouldn't cross your mind. You're supposed to want to win the bingo, that's the point. Clearly, with Bingo Blitz, the point to the game is not to bingo. The point to the game is use bingo as a mechanic to complete your collection. So imagine if this were back to Our Lady who won the jackpot in slots, if she gets a jackpot and she's saying, I don't want a jackpot now, I haven't finished my collection. This is sort of like the equivalent of that type of idea. Jackpot in slots, that's the end in itself. That's what she wants because she cares about the coins. In Bingo Blitz and in other games, the collection is what matters. So sharing the bingos becomes something that's a real idea, that people actually think, yes, I want to do that. I want to play in a certain way. It's extraordinarily social game. Groups of people get together, and you might even call it collusion. But people are in the room, they're having a great time, they play for a long time, they want to get the stuff. So what's in the future? So I started to think about this a little bit. It's like, wow, you know, like bingo is really just a mechanic that powers like this collection game. What else could bingo power? What else could slots power? And here's an example that from a game I really, really like called Tower of Fortune, which is kind of out there. And it's a cool game. It's a little like an RPG game. It's a battle game where this is sort of a little slot machine where you can see like the screen on the left, I'm going to spin, and then it's a skill stop like 100% of the time. You have to stop it. And where I stop it, that's the weapon that I get. And then I can like kill my opponent. And so that's like slot machine is being used kind of in place of like D20. You know, it's like rolling a dice, except it's a slot machine. It's an obvious use for something like a slot mechanic to be used in an RPG type of game. So I think one of the things that I hear a lot is how do we increase and enlarge the overall design aesthetic of casino games? Where do we go from here? And I think, wow, using like casino mechanics, especially slots and bingo, we could go all kinds of places. I mean, this leads to storytelling. You can easily see how this might lead to storytelling, or adventure, or a puzzle game, or combat, or role play. It's always back to role play, because role play does form the foundation of so many games. So I think this is a really exciting move into the future, and one in which it's what makes me think of calling it casual casino rather than social casino, and certainly it's not a Vegas simulator. So here I think we have a growth curve into the future. So in conclusion, social casino really isn't one thing. It has multiple subgenres, and it maybe has more than even what I've listed here. Of course it has a gambling simulator. I mean, of course we can take Vegas-style play and simply copy it, and simply do games that are exactly like that with the same excitement. We can also use gambling simulators with casual progression mechanics like the Slotomania example. Slotomania absolutely does that. They have level ups, they have unlocks, you know, they have things that we're all familiar with. And then we can have casual games that use casino mechanics. There are many others. I think it's kind of a new field, and it's kind of a new direction for us all to think and explore. And engagement, remember this talk is all about engagement, it depends really on matching the genre correctly with the mechanics and the goals and the economy. And the economy is really key in this because the economy, of course, in a Vegas-style slots game is going to be quite different than some of the examples that I just showed you. So that is my presentation.
Okay, great. That was very interesting. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, hi.
My question, it was very interesting, thank you. My question is about the lack of skill in all of the successful games. So my personal background is from AAA, Activision, Blizzard titles, where it's all about skill, almost. And I'm amazed that there is absolutely no trying to add or to combine some skill elements to these slot, bingo, luck, pure luck games. So do you have a take on this?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think there could be skill built in. Clearly, skill is not built into slots. There's a tiny bit of skill built into bingo, especially the way Bingo Blitz works, because there's a little bit of a strategy involved. As we saw, the strategy is more on a person-to-person level rather than playing the game itself. You look at games that are very popular right now, and there's always kind of a question mark about where is skill in these games. If you look at Candy Crush, is that really a skill-based game, or is it just the luck of the draw? You know, like the colors come down or they don't. So I think that more and more, as we see casual games like growing into the mobile space, there's like a whole lot of games that, you know, surely there's games that are skill-based, and then there are games that are not. And there's probably some place in between. There's room for both, for sure. A game doesn't have to be skill-based in order to be fun, and we've witnessed that. So, but I think it's very interesting, and that's a very interesting direction to explore, and that should probably be on that list that I made of like, here's the next cool stuff. So, yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Clearly, you've delineated between what makes a real money game versus a social.
Yes.
Have you seen any bleed from all of the cool stuff that you've created in social back into real money?
Not specifically with the kind of thing that I'm showing here, but we're seeing, there's certainly a lot of ideas from casual games that are making it into like real world slot machines, like the bonus games, the scatter games and so forth. They're starting to be like a meta game that you can build on in certain slot machines. The bonus games are getting to be more complex. So I think that aspect of it is certainly starting to happen. In terms of real money gaming online, I think real money gaming online is kind of new, and it's still a little bit scary because it's legal some places and it's not legal other places. So I think as that particular genre grows up and over time, then we will definitely see it. One thing that we see in all games is people like to be social, people want to trade with each other, people want to collaborate basically with each other. They also want to compete with each other. So we start to see the introduction of things like leaderboards, like who's better. So I think I don't see it a whole lot right now in terms of like real money gambling online, but I think it's coming.
Interesting. Okay, thanks. Well, I think thank you for your time. It was really interesting.